Hey everyone, in this video, I'm going to show you pretty much the workflow of what it takes of a team to make 100K months and what is the reality of it. People think that doing 150K months takes like a massive team. And this was actually the subject that we were talking about on a group of calls that in my program, we have calls Monday to Friday. At least for 1 hour. Sometimes they go over. Like today went up for like 3 hours. And one of the reasons is because we were talking about in depth, like what is the reality? How much people, like what does the team look like? It's getting 100K months. And in reality, you only need three, depending on which role on the company you're gonna fill up. But you're either gonna need three or including the whole team. If you hire everything, it's probably gonna be four you guys, including yourself, or it might be three you guys. And with just that small team, you can do 80 to 150K months, which I was doing back in 2022 and then 2023, half of the year. It was just three of us, and then we started cranking it up, and then that's where we finally hit the 300K months. So I'm gonna show you pretty much how I do this workflow because I'm gonna give you guys for free. I'm also gonna give it to my clients. Or what is the reality of actually what it looks like of building a team that could realistically do 100K months consistently. So let's get right into it. So of course, this is mainly for a funding and credit company because we could charge 6 to 12K for our product. So it's very easy for us to reach 100K months. So now let's get right into it. So this is, let's say the first um, like how we start. Let me first label this as a 100K months team. Plain and simple. Right? So the first we have you, the founder, right? You're the first, you're the idea, you're the main driver of momentum, you're pretty much a CEO, right? That's where it starts. Now, you by yourself, if you're running the whole company yourself, which I did when I first started this. If you don't know, if this is your first time watching this video, I got scammed for a ridiculous amount of money. I owned a huge car rental. Got scammed for almost $500,000. It wasn't even until actually last year of 2023 that I finally paid it all back. Actually, I'm still paying some little ones here and there. And long story, but the point is that I couldn't delegate everything because I was doing everything by myself. And when I first started the company, I was doing everything myself just to figure it out before I delegated. And I counted the company by myself from zero all the way to I think 30 to 40K months. And then I started hiring people. So you could definitely do this by yourself if you're in dipshit and you gotta start making some cash and then you can outsource. Okay, so let me get right into it. So by yourself as a founder, you can easily you know do like film uh plus edit plus upload plus manage manage um ads. So that's one of the first thing you have to do, right? With no ads, there's nothing else. So the first thing you gotta do is fucking pretty much film some ads. Like that's literally the first thing you have to do. Is just film some ads, edit it, upload, manage them, and and manage the ads pretty much. Plus manage the ads. And I'm gonna put it here for it doesn't confuse you guys. Whoops. Okay, once we got the ads filmed and whatever and edited and they're running and they're active and the DMs are coming, what are the next thing you do? You have to be a setter. That is the next thing pretty much. So actually I'm gonna put DMs. So because if you don't know these roles, the first time you're seeing this, I'm pretty much gonna write them out. So handle DMs. I'm gonna put app appointment setter pretty much. Right? That is the person that just books your appointments. And then after that, if you when you book the appointment is you have to close them. So pretty much the best way you can describe it is a sales call. So sales call, right? And then after that, we go into results, which is the fulfillment department. So getting your clients results. So you can technically do all this because this in short is technically marketing. Let me just put it here. Because this right here is technically all marketing. Marketing. Right? So this is technically your marketing department. This is technically your appointment. Like this is your front desk. Like if you guys never set an appointment into the DMs or don't know this stuff, this you literally your front desk lady. If think about like in an office, this is like your first layer of contact after they come from the ads. So think about it like your front desk. And then your sales results. Okay, so yeah, so this and then this. Actually, let me remove this over here because this model by yourself, you're gonna make max from 5k to I've seen all the way to 50k months. The reason why it starts capping, well, multiple reasons, but one of the main ones is that it starts taking too much of your time. So that's one of the first constraint that you have and why you're not going to be able to pass these numbers at first. So the biggest constraint that you're going to have with this model and why you're going to be stuck between 5 and 50k months, it's because of time, the time constraint. You're going to be stuck doing all these single roles and you're going to go crazy and there's not enough time for you to do everything, especially doing sales and result and fulfillment where the results, because you're going to be taking a bunch of sales calls a day. Let's say these are a bunch of sales calls. I'm gonna mark this. I'm like yeah, like red, right? You're taking sales calls, or we like to call them discovery calls. Discovery calls, right? You start taking all these discovery calls. Which let's say you could take let's say 4 day. Let's say you're taking four call a day, right? Which is it's let's say that we're calling them an hour each, right? So now you have 4 hours out of your day taking sales calls, right? So let me break this down right here. 4 calls a day, and then I'm gonna put AVG, so average 45 minutes. And then by you having like a call in between, like a little break in between. So let's say let me also put this bold. Right, you're maybe spending 4 hours in just this part of the process. I'm gonna put this on like this. Boom. And then you gotta do results. So yeah, the first month you can start getting a bunch of sales, but eventually you're gonna start getting onboarding call because after this you get results, right? It's a sales call. So you gotta get a onboarding call plus fulfillment. So this could actually be split up into 2 calls because you can have an introduction call, which is like the onboarding call. So like let's say onboarding call, right? You have your onboarding call. um, right? What's gonna happen is they're gonna start. This thing are gonna start conflicting. You're gonna have your onboarding call, but then you're gonna need your fulfillment call, right? So this whole process is gonna take at least 2 or 3 more calls. And let's say this calls, maybe the onboarding call, you're doing about maybe two calls a day, about maybe, even if you can bring it down to 15 minutes, that's still a lot of time out of the day, right? And then the fulfillment call, let's say you can take another, let's say 2 out of the day, because remember, this is like they're compounding, on top of each other. And maybe this one takes like 30 to 45 minutes, right? And then what you're gonna do is put this thing in between, right? Because like maybe let me give you an example. Um, maybe you have this one at 12 a.m. So you're doing this one at 12. Then you're doing this one at, let's say, 1. And then now we're going to PM. Right? Then maybe you take this one at, actually, let me give you more realistic scenario. This is kind of how our clients go. Because like when you start making money and they're like at 10 to 30k a month, this is kind of how our schedule looks like. So let's say this was at 3, and then this one, it's at 5, right? And now you gotta have this calls here in between. So let's say this is a 12, this will be then at 2. Right? As you can start to see, this is getting, and I'm gonna show you this is, I'm not even done yet, right? So then you gotta start doing this call, because maybe this one you do it this, and then this call right here, after you're onboarded, you can have it 3 days, after, like, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. It could be 3 to 5, 3 or 5, 3 to 5 days after first call. Right, so you can have this call, like way down the line. You get, not way down the line, like after your onboarding call. So it's okay to have a lot this one, um, but still, it's still gonna slam your calendar. And then if we could copy, duplicate, let me see, duplicate, boom, because we gotta have now the 4 o'clock. Right now, look at your schedule. This is what's gonna end up looking like. Marking. Let me change the colors a bit. So as you can see, with this model, look at your calendar. And let's not forget the DMs. You know? All day inflow of leads. Let's not forget that there's a bunch of leads coming in nonstop. and somebody needs to handle those leads, because if you're not handling those leads, then you're losing them. You know, like if like literally, if you're not handling those leads, you're losing them. You know, because then somebody else in the market is gonna take them and they're gonna sell them. So it's like you need to not only be the founder and operate the marketing, which is a whole, you know, I put some here, like I don't want to break it down too much because it's a whole other thing, right? Like so much work. Then you have to yeah, edit, upload, run, manage the ads. Then you have to set the appointments. So pretty much be the front desk of your business, you know, handle all the phone calls and book the appointments. Then you got to close the appointments. Then you got to fulfill the client and show them around your company. And then you have to, because this could go on, they could go maybe into maybe even 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Like we're not even done yet. You know, this could actually go even further on to 6 o'clock, let's say. You know, and on and on. Like maybe one of these is maybe one of these is onboarding, one of this is, you know, results. So giving your clients the results. You get me? So now your calendar from 12, you're already putting 6 hours in and you're stacked. You get me? Even though you are making, especially if you're doing this and this is happening, I am 100% sure you're not doing 5K a month, unless you have something's happening, right? Because if you have your calendar like this, that means your ads are working, your appointments are working, you're getting booked appointments, you're just not closing them, you know? So that's a whole other problem. That's more like a sales problem. But for if you have this, you're definitely going to be reaching from minimum 20, highest 50K months. But then again, you hit into the constraints of time, which is the main reason why you're not going to be able to pass these numbers. So that's why you have to delegate. There's no way about it. Like, hold on, give me 1 second. Oh, oops. So this whole model, right? So yeah, that's why the biggest problem with this model is time. You're gonna be do everything by yourself. So it just too time consuming. Yeah, you are gonna be making the money, but it's too time consuming. And at some point, you're gonna have to delegate and start hiring, which it goes into your first hire, which is the setter. This will, once you start doing at least a minimum of 30K a month, you should start looking for an appointment setter, which it will go into this one, right? This is a lifesaver position because this is when you already could at least by like you could do this for a long time. Just have a setter, you doing, because for a while it would just me and my fiance doing like about 60 to 80K months. So with just a setter, you can almost get 30K more on rev. So just a setter, just one setter can can let me see how can I put the like, I don't want to say 2x, but almost 2x, almost 2x rev. So by implementing just one setter, you can easily duplicate the rev, almost duplicate, and start doing about, actually let me put it here. So I've seen from 60 all the way to actually 100 just with this. With just one setter and one salesman. But then again, it's still pretty annoying for you as the founder because again, you even though now you have the setting automated, right? So now the setting is automated, but you still got to do these other three columns of your company, which is the marketing, which you're always going to be doing marketing as a CEO and the founder. You're always going to be doing marketing, but now you still got to, you have sales and then you have fulfillment. The next one, so this is, I'm gonna put here first hire. Now we go into results. Results. So this is second hire. Now the second hire is your fulfillment coach, pretty much getting your clients the results that they paid for your business, right? That should be your second, because it's you're doing too much, man. You're doing at this point you're doing so much that if you can just focus on sales and sales, wait, try to delegate that for as long as possible, because you're gonna have always the highest closing rate in your company. We've seen our clients have even me personally have a high as a 70% closing rate, and our clients getting anywhere between 30 all the way to 50, sometimes even 60, because all the marketing, they see you on the ads, you're doing on the podcast, you're being on the show, you're doing all this stuff, so you have higher chances of closing, right? So second hire is a coach to give you guys to give your clients the results they paid for, the onboarding, right? Because like I said, you don't want to be stuck on doing, like look at this, like look at your schedule, how it's looking like. So if you can really delegate, 1/3 of the company and another third of the company, or 1/4, I'm saying, like think about this company like four chunks. This is how I always explain to everybody. Your company is split up into four pieces. It's the marketing, the appointment setting, sales, and fulfillment, pretty much results, right? So if you can delegate at least two, which would be number one, I'm gonna mark it. Where's my text? Oh, whoops. First, I'm putting caps. First hire, right? And then second hire, right? So because if you can not just focus on sales, I promise you, it's that's that you're good. Like you can just hire first this one, which technically is your front desk to book all the appointments, right? And then you need somebody to be in the back end to after the appointments have been booked, you close them, you show them exactly what the product is. Now you need someone to fulfill that, right? Now you have more time back. Now if you implement the coach, your the results based part of your company, if you automate that, now you can easily just with one, now with this team, on the lower end 80, on the higher end like 150. I see actually 180, right? So I'm kind of showing you kind of what it looks like and how where the constraints of the company will happen at one point. That's what I'm saying. You got to get by yourself to at least 10 to 50k months. Then once you get there, you need to start delegating some of the parts that are restraining you with time. Because like I said, if you just rely on this model, right, which I'm actually just gonna copy and duplicate it over here, right? If you just rely on this model and you're doing everything yourself, it is not going to work out, right? Just doing this all by yourself is not going to work out. It's not. It's too much work. It's too much work, and it's not going to work out. So you have to start delegating as soon as possible. Once you reach 30, 40k months, that's when you start thinking, okay, I need to start outsourcing one of the four departments of the company. Because I'm telling you, you're gonna have a time constraint, and there is no way you can scale. There is no way you can scale, right? So you have to delegate. And just with this small group, that's what I made this flow chart with just this small group, with just you being the salesman and handling the ads, one appointment setter dealing with all the appointments and booking the making sure the calendar is filled up, and then and then you as a salesman and one person fulfilling it. Inside your funding company, you can easily reach 80 to 150k months. So I even seen as high as 180k months with just a 3-man band, just 3 people doing those numbers. So it doesn't take a whole, we need 100 employees, we need 10 employees. No, we don't need a lot of employees, and we could keep the company very, very lean by just, depending where you are. Like right now, if you're making 50k months inside your funding company, you probably know this, that it doesn't take a lot of much to generate a lot of money in this industry. But if this is the first time you've seen this is why it's so easy for us to make so much money with such a small employee team. Because one, it just needs to handle the appointments, and depending how much you're spending on ads too. If you're spending 200 look at me, 200, you're spending 2k or 3k a day on ads, then yeah, not this just becomes bigger. Like, let me show you. Like, if the more ad spend you spend, like this model right here, you can potentially spend maybe about from 200 to, actually 200 might be on the low end. 200 for this full team, 200 to, let's say, 1500 a day. So from 300 to, right? So with this team, you can go all the way from 300 all the way to $1,500 a day in ad spend, and the team is not gonna break. So you can kind of push the team, even though it depends, because some setters or some fulfillment coach, I don't know, it all depends. But that's why it gives so high here. The range is so high from 300 all the way to 1,500, because it depends. Like from my personal setters, I've seen them crack around the $1,500 a day per one setter. So that's when usually start to crack. But I've also seen some setter that at $800 a day, they already start to crack. Like it's too much influx. So you gotta see how you play with that. But like say, if you want to scale to 300k months, I've seen them just with, like, when me personally, when we did 300, it was 3 salesmen and pretty much 3 setters. Technically it was 2, because one setter was just unsending and resending, but we had 2 mainly just doing the conversation. So it's just duplicating the team and increasing the ad budget. But that's just for me to show you that it doesn't take too much or too much manpower to do 100k months inside a credit and funding company. It doesn't take too much. So I hope that kind of give you a little bit understanding of kind of how it looks when you're doing just small numbers, and why you have to start delegating once you're doing 30k months or even 50k months. A lot, actually, the core of our clients, like 50% or more of our clients, are doing 30 to 50k months, and they're here in this part where they're looking for setters or looking for a fulfillment coach, because this is what happened. Like this part right now, this part is what's happening with them, that their calendar is just looking absolutely wild, because they're just back to back, 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 and it becomes a constraint of the company. And which I that's why I'm like, okay, now you gotta start delegating. Now we gotta start looking for people who can actually run parts of the departments in your company, because you're near, unless this is all you want. If you want to make 20, 30k months, by all means, then you can just stay there and cruise on this number. Hell, you can just cruise at 20k months, and this numbers get cut in half. You can do less, half the work. But if you're doing 50k months, or if you're doing this calendar, you should be doing about 50k months. But all right, everyone, that's it for this video. Just again, just a reminder that it doesn't take a really big, very large team to do 100k month. Just with 3 or 4 of you, you guys could absolutely crush it. Just like in my main company right now, that we're doing about 3 to 400k months, and it's just 4 of us. So if we could do it, you guys could do it too. And this is why I'm showing you all this content, for you guys could see behind on the company, kind of like, okay, this is actually possible. Also, if you want more information about this stuff, I did have a free mini course, where it's not really mini, there's 12 hours of information on the link below. And if you want access to more information, I have a subscription based program that is only $47 a week, and that one has over 60 hours of information. All right, so if you're interested in that, click one of the links below, and I'll see you guys on the next video.